Standard Time. So, welcome everyone to Pream Radio episode number 4. So this is the the podcast slash radio show for the server, right? KCity, and it's the first Discord based K-pop talk. So my name's Godwin. I'm the main host for today. So through Pream, we would like to be the pioneering platform for the Discord K-pop community to be able to talk about what's happening in K-pop in a format that we would believe has never been done before. So just a huge disclaimer to get this out of the way. All opinions and views are our own. No harm intended for the respective artists, management companies, and the beloved K-pop fans in here. So pretty exciting. We just started some new social channels. So we have an official Twitter account and Instagram account now. So it's at KCT Kpop. YouTube channel is KCity. And that's where we upload all the recordings. With that being said, today we'll get to this episode, and we got a special one. So first time we have some distinguished guests. Definitely welcome Connor and hope I'm pronouncing it right. Castias? Castias?
Castias, yeah.
Castias, okay. All right. So KCity is more than just a Discord server community with members from all around the world. Anyways, it's like all communities were unique to our own. K-pop is the catalyst that brings us all together, but we don't, talk about that 24/7. Obviously, we're all, trying to be friends, right, and stuff like that. So, it's like Connor and Castias here. Who are the ones who are currently running the Loona Discord community server with over 15,000 members. So, yeah, I'd love for you both to introduce yourselves briefly. Where you come from, and then also what is Lunacord?
Okay,
Connor,
so
do you want to go
hi.
first?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
that.
whoever wants to go first. Yeah.
My name's Connor. I've been a moderator in the Loona server for a little over 2 years now, and I've been the owner for just under a year.
Very cool. And you, Castias?
Yeah, I'm Castias. Most people just call me Casti or Cass or whatever shortened version because nobody seems to know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
I've been a moderator for, I think it's been 2 years now. We're coming on to 2 years. A long time. It feels like longer than it probably actually has been. But yeah, that is me.
Very cool. So, and what about, Lunacorn, I guess, obviously it is kind of self-explanatory, but like, I guess like if you know the history, like when did it start and how many members is 15K, kind of accurate and some basic info about Lunacord.
Yeah, so Lunacord was started by somebody else. As I said, I took over about a year ago. So when the original, because Blockberry Creative, who own Loona, they were very kind of mystic, I guess you could say, at the start with their teasers and stuff. So the first Heejin teaser came out before anybody really knew what Loona was fully going to be. So Scotto started the server then, which was that October 2016, I think?
Yeah, it was a long time ago now.
Yeah, so Loona have been around like a lot longer than what a lot of people know, just because of like OT12 debut was years later than when it first started. But that's kind of what's been the fun thing about Loona was like the discovery of it at first, because nobody really knew exactly what it was going to be, which was like a lot of fun. So yeah, I personally I got into the server around when Eclipse Kim Lip's solo song came out, and then it was kind of like piecing together what everybody already knew, and then kind of catching up with the lore and everything what was going on to then figure out where it was going in that direction too. So it was weird knowing that it was going to be a 12-member group, but only knowing like 5 of the members at the time, or however many it was back then.
Yeah. Like, I think what's nice as well is that, just to check you can still hear me, I think I accidentally muted myself before.
No, it's all good, all good.
Yeah, we can hear
okay.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, because I think I joined around like the Loona fandom around, I think it was when just after Yojin's music video came out. Like I wasn't there for the ones before that. And then I think I joined Discord later on in the year. It was around Odd Eye Circle, but I didn't start talking in the actual server until quite a while after that. I think it was Olivia's music video, but the server and like the staff and stuff and the group itself has gone through so many changes, and I just think it's nice that the community has still like stayed and it's still kept going. Yeah.
That's very cool. I mean, like, we talk about kind of different time points, right? In which everyone came to know Loona, right? I mean, for me, I mean, I've been in this game since 2010, right? So when the first Heejin teasers came out, I was like, what is Blockberry Creative? What is this, right? What is this new thing? Who are you? You know, like, you know, that type of thing, right? And it's just that, I
Yeah.
think that mythical kind of quality was different. I mean, sure, like, you know, for example, people make Discord servers about like just, you know, groups that haven't even debuted like all the time, right? Because they want to, you know, get into, I guess, you know, creating that community or that fan base early on. And I'm sure, you know, everyone has come, you know, through it by different times. And for me, like I was there right from the start actually, but you know, since Heejin, but I didn't get into Discord until much later, right?
Yeah,
And
but was
I think that, yeah.
still gamer focused, wasn't it? Because like, yeah, I
Mm.
don't think people realized you could use it as a discussion platform like you can now, which is probably why it's grown so much.
Yeah, that's right. It's you know, Discord has grown way beyond just gaming, right? And I'm sure like they are positioning themselves to be more. I mean, I'm like right now, I think, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I am in way too many K-pop servers to count, right? Oh, like,
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Need the emojis.
it's the emojis basically, you know. Yeah, but then, you know, obviously you have your main, and then you know, you may, I mean, you know, you may pop in right once in a while, right, to other servers and just, you know, say hi or whatever. But you know, it's pretty cool. I guess, like, you know, going on from you know, how, you know, each one of you discovered Loona. You know, for example, you know, we all talked about it. I guess, you know, out of curiosity, right? Who is your current bias, or, you know, in the group?
So that was another fun thing about Loona, really, was because not all of the members had been revealed at the time. I kind of jumped from bias to bias depending on who came out and then whose solo songs that I liked more. So when I first found Loona, as I said, Eclipse was the first song that I listened to, but then I kind of went back and listened to the ones that had already been released. So I started as a Kimlet bias, and then we went through all of
Nice.
the other ones, and then I jumped from Kimlet to Go On when One and Only came out, because that's still one of my favorite solo songs. And then I jumped again from Go On to Olivia Hay when that came out, because Egoist is and was my favorite solo song from all of the 12.
Yeah, for me, Egoist is still my favorite, to be honest. And I think out of all the songs as well, it's still up there, even after all this time. I think my first bias was Harsel, and then it was Hyunjin, and then it was Kim Lip, because I got really into Odd Eye Circle at the time. Like, I remember I was on V Live and stuff, and I was trying to do all the V Live rankings, because I don't think anybody really like. I thought this was when the fan base was still really small, and I think Odd Eye Circle was when it started growing like quite a decent amount, because before that, I think they were just known for the group that spent a lot of money on pre-debut, because that's how I found them. I was just on YouTube and there was just this video, like, oh, they spent loads of money, like, what group is this? And then I just went into it from there. But that was the only thing they were really known for, and I think they got a lot of criticism at the time, because people were like, oh, they're never going to pay this debt off. I think they're still like that, especially with all this donut stuff that's gone on. But yeah, and then my bias after Kim Lip was Heejin, and it's just been Heejin ever since. I've not really hopped from Heejin since that time. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think, you know, that's the unique part about Loona, because they had this whole gigantic pre-debut project, if you will, right? You know, obviously, you know, spent a lot of time, and, well, of course, you mentioned money, right? Into it.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously, when more of the members get introduced, you kind of figure out, right? Who is, I guess, you know, I guess, catches your eye, if you will. I mean, for me, like, kind of my first exposure to, you know, besides the actual songs, for Loona was Mix 9. So I watched that show.
Okay.
That was pretty cool. I mean, like,
Not Mix 9.
yeah, I mean, it was an introduction for sure. Maybe not the one. I mean, also got kind of dumped. But anyways,
I know.
yeah. It was at least an introduction to some of our Heejin and Hyunjin, right? So, like,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been, I think Heejin ever since. But yeah, I mean, so many, I think, of the members have just caught my eye. I mean, like, I'm obsessed with, like, Chu's, like, content nowadays. Like, I
Yeah.
swear she's
Yeah,
like a full-time
definitely.
content creator now, right? So
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, the She Can Do It series is really cool. And when she went on to Running Girls with like the more senior idols, that was like really cool to see her kind of interacting with people that had been in the industry a long time, and like how her charm still works on all of those as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was so surprised she even got that, to be honest, because I think
Not that
it's been
big?
such a long time. You see Loona as like Nuggers, and then she ends up on there with like Hani and Chunga, and I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, I mean, like honestly, I think Chu made that, Running Girls what it is because, for example, if Chu wasn't on there, then the show would be much more depressing. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It would just basically be Hani, Yua, Chunga, and Sunmi talking about the problems.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
know. I think just having having a junior in the group as well just like helped the dynamic because they were all helping her, and it was just really nice.
Yeah,
Choose adopted parents, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's their adopted child now, in some ways. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, like, I think this conversation is really timely because, as we all know, Luna is coming back. So, very soon. Of
Yes.
course, I changed my profile picture in honor of Flat. So, what are your hopes and dreams for this comeback? Like, what kind of concept or results, or like, what's your personal hope for this comeback?
I think, as most orbits will feel, everybody was just super happy to see Hustle back and kind of like having all 12 girls again. That was like, that kind of like went past the music for me. I'm just happy to see kind of all of them together and like looking forward to the content that's going to come with that. But music wise, if I had to say, it would be kind of just, I'd like to see them experiment a bit more than what they've done with like their most recent title tracks, especially because like the earlier B-sides and stuff was very unique in comparison to a lot of what the other groups are putting out at the time. So I hope to see more of that. But to be honest, like with Loona, I'm just going to enjoy it either way, just because like they never really miss in terms of content and stuff. So I'll be happy kind of musically whatever happens.
Yeah, and especially since Househol's back, I think no matter what it sounds like, people are just going to enjoy it anyway. Like for a lot of orbits, it's their first, full group comeback because she's been gone for so long. Like it was Butterfly now, that was ages ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think in terms of concept, especially since Househol's back and she fits these really well, I'd like something a bit more on the elegant side, I suppose. Like similar to Star, I think that's probably the closest we got, like Star and Voice, to what I like them doing, because Butterfly and X and like XX as that whole album still my favorite release that they've done as a full group. So I'd love to hear something kind of between Butterfly and Star, because I did like the last two title tracks, especially the B-sides on the last album. They were really, really good. But yeah, I think I'd like to hear, like Connor, something a bit different this time, because with Harsel, I'd just like to see something that fits her a bit better, and like she can have a nice high note, and it'll just be, yeah, it'd be really nice.
Nice. Very, very cool. So I'm just gonna check the chat a little bit and see what other people hope as well. So Danny says want a hard sounding comeback. Jet says experimental B-sides. Yahya says ballad. Okay. And Fleur Lee says dancing. So everyone has different hopes and dreams for this comeback. But imagine, having all that together in one. I think that'll be pretty cool. And of course everyone is very excited, right, to have Hassel back. And yeah, I mean, like, of course we all haven't seen her in a while, right? I'm sure like she's always kind of behind the scenes doing her thing, right? Just encouraging the rest of them. And I mean, it'll be pretty interesting because I think for a lot of newer orbits too, we're like, who is Hassel, like yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The secret member. It was really cool in terms of like, for those of you that are in the server, when we've had kind of the initial pictures back from Hustle when she's been on her breaks, like everybody just went crazy. Like everyone was just so happy to see her again, and like the ones that we've got now, and then there was ones I can't remember what exactly it was for. I think it was for one of her anniversaries. We got a couple of selfies a few months ago, which was like super good because that kind of showed us that things were starting to move again, and she was feeling a lot better. So we were kind of like, it was on route into seeing her again, which was like something that we were all looking forward to. But
Yeah.
it's just good to see that like even people that haven't been around since that she's had a comeback still hold her in the high regard and are like really looking forward to kind of seeing her back with the members as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure.
Oh, and personally, like, I know this is probably quite controversial to say, especially with some of the fans on Twitter, but I'm quite glad they didn't really give us any updates about her over the time because I
Mm.
think she just needed that space to be away from like the fans and like just the whole system so she could just get a bit better and focus on herself and her anxiety because obviously having like I've suffered from it myself and I understood why they didn't give us any updates and I know a lot of fans wanted them probably because they were just concerned, but I am glad they didn't in the end. And now we've just got her back and it just feels right. It's just nice.
Mm.
Yeah, no, definitely agreed. I think it was, definitely more for definitely, for her sake, right? Just, being able to just escape for a bit, right? Just outside that, I guess, microcosm of the K-pop world, and we know how incredibly stressful that can be, right? Especially with with her situation. It's just good to get away. I think it applies to everyone in general. Like if something is kind of crushing you, it's good to just take a break or just step back or step away. I think even for say, people on Twitter or just, people following K-pop, for example, sometimes it actually is helpful to step away sometimes, right? For your own sake. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done
Definitely.
that several times, right? So
Hmm.
it's all
Yeah,
very,
that's
very, very cool.
yeah. With K-pop as an entire industry, they give you the option to kind of be as committed as you want because you could just be in it for the music and not care about anything else, or you can enjoy watching the music shows and seeing the choreographies and the performances and then the variety shows. And there's so much to it that it definitely can get very overwhelming if you don't balance it. And that's just from like appreciating the content side. So I can't imagine how it does actually feel to be in the industry and working kind of like to produce all of this content for your fans all the time. And it must feel so draining a lot of the time. So it was
Yeah.
nice to see, especially with just in terms of how mental health can be treated in some of these industries, how BBC, as not a huge company, just allowed her the time that she wanted and needed to kind of recover and come back when she was ready more than anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think as well in that respect, it's nice that Luna wasn't as popular because I think if like with Twice when Mina took a break, I think if she'd taken a break for that length of time, or if Jonghyun had taken a break for that length of time, it would have been a much bigger issue than it ended up being, I think, with
Mm.
Luna. So yeah, that's just something else as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's totally fair because how demanding some fans can be, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Having
definitely.
to where are you
Oh
today?
dear.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but in any case, that's all just really good. I guess kind of segue really into because we talk about kind of experience, right, as fans and as in particular, right, being in Discord as a K-pop fan, for example, right. We know
Mhm.
how big of an international fan presence, right, Orbits can be,
Yeah.
all around the world, and especially on Twitter sometimes with the memes and stuff. But
Yeah.
I guess like in general, what do you think about, we talk about, the on the Discord server, side of things. What do you think makes your server kind of stand out from all the other K-pop kind of based, Discord servers?
Um, I don't know if this would be tooting our own horn a bit too much, but our content managers, which isn't something that I'm involved in, so I feel okay to
Yes.
kind of boast about them, but our
Shout them
content
out.
managers are so on point with everything that comes out regarding Luna. And they're not a
Yeah.
big team either. There's only, I'd say, a handful of people that are kind of constantly working on it, but we always have a fully updated schedule. We always have the updates for anything that comes out, translated or not. And then I can shout out the Subbits team, the Orbits that do all the translating as well. They're kind of so on top of everything as well, so we can kind of bring their content in and give that back to the members of the server as well. But then we've got our individual channels for members. That one thing that we've tried to do a little bit differently is anyone's allowed to post in it, but we don't allow reposts or images that have already been kind of posted from way back when, where a lot of other groups will kind of just allow, or a lot of other servers, sorry, will just allow people to post whatever they want. But ours are very organized in terms of when pictures were taken, so everything's kind of got to be formatted correctly, and it's just a lot easier to kind of go through and find the exact content that you're looking for. But yeah, as I said, that isn't anything to do with me. That's one of our admins, Dust, is kind of the main leader for that, and then his team are kind
Yeah.
of insane with organizing all of that stuff for us.
Yeah, the content managers are just, they've been doing it for such a long time as well, and they never miss. Like, they're just as fast as they always have been. They're just really organized. They have everything out instantly, all the updates, like the teasers. It's just quite amazing, to be honest, that they're so dedicated to it. Like, we've only had one, we only had one leave in like the last couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if you don't see them all talking around the server, like they're always there. Yeah, like a couple of them I know don't really talk as much as they used to, but they are still there for the group and they're still there supporting the server, even if people don't see them. And I just really appreciate that, because I don't think the server would be what it was without, you know, I guess the silent heroes, if that's what you want to call them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's
definitely.
totally fair. Yeah.
One other thing as well that's a bit more behind the scenes, but on the same level, is our Google Drive that has all of the images from literally anything you could ever expect from Loona. So that's in our resources. So if you're in the server, definitely check that out and see kind of how well organized and maintained that is, because that's just like, I can't even imagine how long or how much like organization it takes those guys to do that, but it's kind of constant and they're always updating it for us. So definitely have a look into that if you got the time.
Wow, I mean, that is incredible. Just the amount of, I guess, organization and just being able to be that on top of things, where you really need those dedicated people, right? Those content managers and community managers to kind of run everything. And I don't even want to know how big that Google Drive is. Just in terms of size, but yeah, I guess like that is I think that's the hallmark of a great community, and I think something that's pretty good to see is if, say, for example, we can look to the chat if anyone has any questions for our distinguished guests. We can do that right now, and we can go
Definitely.
from there. So any questions from the chat today? Don't be shy. Feel free to ask anything you want, to a certain extent, obviously. But we'll see. But yeah, I mean, that's incredible. Such a big audience, and have those dedicated people there helping. So any questions? Okay, I'm just they're coming up, but I guess, like, as we wait, for anyone who's not already in Lunacord, I don't know why you wouldn't be. If you aren't, go there right now and invite yourself. But what does a typical day in the server look like? How active is it? In general, what do people do in there? Um, what's usually going on in there?
Do you want to take this one, Castillo? Shall I?
Which one, the first one or the second one? First one.
Oh, just the day in the life one.
You could take that one. It's alright. I'm just thinking
Yeah, no
about
worries.
which animal appeared and
Oh,
why not, because I can't remember.
No worries. Yeah, so the Luna server in a way is quite adaptable as to how you want it. So we've tried to keep everything as much on K-pop topic as we can, but obviously with Discord being a platform that was originally designed for gaming and for people to kind of commute around that, we do also have a channel dedicated to that. But I could say the channels are mostly organized into what they're supposed to be. So we've got a general chat, obviously, for whatever you want to talk about. We've got a chat dedicated to Luna only. We've got one for K-pop in general, if you just want to talk about that. We've got we have also what's a miscellaneous chat, which has ended up being a bit more kind of I don't want to say serious topics, but not what you look at a general chat of a Discord to look like. It's a bit more kind of slower, and you can have a bit more of a meaningful conversation in there if you want to. We've got chats to help people learn Korean. We've got a few Discord bots that we like to play. There's a lot going on really, and it's kind of how you want to interact with the server is kind of fully up to you. We haven't tried to kind of narrow people down to only talking about Luna or talking about one or two specific things, and that we've noticed over time that kind of groups have formed in the channels where they will kind of communicate with everybody, but they have their like favorite places to hang out. So there's kind of like subgroups within the server, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
we try and kind of adapt the server to what people want, but also obviously keep it on topic of Loona and the core foundations of the server and what it was built for originally. So
Right. Yeah. Just adapting to kind of the needs of whoever is in there, right? And being flexible in that way. That makes a lot of sense, and that's what we try to do here in KCity as well. And obviously, that's why we have a suggestions channel and something like that, right? So
yeah.
yeah, very, very cool. Okay, so we have some questions here now. So we'll go with, let's see, for Lee first, pop quiz. What animal appeared in Why Not? I'm assuming that's the music video. So does
Yeah, we
anyone
say
know?
new. It was a long time. Well, it was quite a while ago now. So actually, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, spring and pop quizzes on me never goes too well, so I'm
No,
not sure
I'm
if
horrendous at general knowledge or pop quizzes. I want to
my
say
short-term
wolf,
memory doesn't
but
allow
that
stuff
is
like that.
yeah. There we go. Okay,
Yeah. Oh, it's on
I did
the
remember. I did
it's on the scene where
remember.
she's in the doing like the donuts in the car, right? And then it switches to her face, and then it switches to the wolf, I think.
Yeah, it does. I think does a couple
Hey, there
appear
you go.
at a side or something like that as she flanked?
Mm. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad I remember
There we go.
that.
Yeah, even I had trouble remembering that.
We're not
Yeah,
that
it's
old
been
yet. It's okay. The
yeah,
memory's
because
not going.
it's been a while since I watched that music video. So
No,
Mm.
yeah.
no, same.
Oh well. So we got a question from Danny here. So how many hours per day do you spend on Discord and managing Lunacord itself? And
Uh,
then the follow-up is how do you manage the
okay.
timing for each staff? I'm sure like everyone is coming from different time zones, right?
Yeah. So personally, Discord's a very kind of secondary thing for me. So I work an office job where we kind of have a bit of freedom in terms of what we do on our computer. So I can have Discord open, meaning that I won't constantly be on it. But if I get like pings to say like the server's being raided or something's gone wrong, I can kind of approach to it if you want. But in terms of kind of hours that I'll purely sit on Discord a day, it's 2 or 3 maybe. When I'm kind of just at home in the evenings and watching videos or Netflix or something, I'll always have Discord open as well and kind of just see what's going on. And then in
Yeah.
terms of managing, oh, go on, you go first, and then I'll do the
No, it's
second bit.
fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, I work around the similar hours as you actually, I think.
Mm.
Sometimes later, just because of how my job is. But because I also manage a couple of other servers not related to K-pop, I would say I kind of flick between all of them. It's 2 or 3 hours as well in the evening because I need my own time too. And then a lot of stuff, if like people are being troublesome in the server and we need to make a decision. Normally that happens, I'd say, after the fact, if that makes sense. Like we'll all discuss it and figure out like the best way. But then especially recently, we've changed quite a lot of our rules and how we moderate things. And that's taken quite a lot of time, to be honest, just like general discussion with the other staff. But usually I find that if there's a couple of staff members that are busy or they're not having a good time for however many days or weeks, it's all right because as long as you just let the rest of the team know, you know, everyone backs each other up. It's quite nice. So it is a bit difficult to say exactly how many hours, just because it really depends on what you do in that day. But on a good day, I would say about 2 or 3. Yeah, same as Connor.
Nice, very cool. I guess, out of curiosity, what other K-pop based servers do you manage?
I don't actually. They're not K-pop ones. They're actually anime ones.
Oh,
Don't cancel me.
oh, okay, nice,
Yeah.
nice, very, very
I'm
cool.
I'm admin for Super M Discord as well, but I do a bit more kind of behind the scenes and kind of helping just run it rather than kind of being as active as I am in Luna's. But yeah, I kind of hide in
Okay,
the
He
very,
secret
very cool.
drops. He drops.
Nice, the jobs.
room.
Okay. All right, let's see. So we got a really interesting one from Infinity. So recently some K-pop groups and soloists, albeit new or not, have been promoting via interviews to Twitter and Reddit. So do you reckon companies are taking notice to these other social platforms like Reddit and sometimes their respective subreddits? And so that's first question. And second, do you think there will come a time when groups will recognize their Discord servers dedicated to them and maybe use it as a viable social platform, like Twitter, Instagram, things like that? So for example, right, what if Loona was able to, be allowed to interact like in your server, for example? Like what would that look like?
I mean, I definitely think something like that would happen in the future.
Mm.
You gotta take the rest.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to leak.
Oh no, no worries. I definitely feel especially regarding the Discord half of that question, that things would need to be put into place where, similar to what we're doing now, where kind of certain people do get a stage and then people can kind of react from the sidelines, rather than like throwing Loona on a Discord account in general chat would just be absolute chaos, and like
Oh
nothing
yeah.
productive would come from that. So almost in a sense of how V Live works, you could say, where we could invite Loona into the server or whatever it was that we were doing and kind of give them an area where they kind of communicate with us, but it's not kind of, they don't get drowned out with how a chat in Discord look currently. So it would definitely take some changes from Discord, and I think they're going in the right direction with the stages and stuff that they're doing at the moment, like Infinity says. But I
Yeah.
don't think we're quite there yet in terms of companies allowing people to kind of just like jump into a server and communicate.
Yeah, there'd need to be a lot of management with that. Definitely translators there, similar to how they've done the American radio interviews recently. Probably something similar along that lines. But I can see in the future with the Discord stages, like being like Reddit AMAs, something similar to that. If questions were chosen, a very big slow mode was put on the channel. And you just had like the
huge
server owner or
promo,
a
like
couple of
1 message per
staff.
minute or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, or like the server owner or a couple of admins were just there to like manage it and interview Loona, but there would definitely have to be a translator there unless they all decided to be really fluent in English until that point, which would be great, but I doubt it's gonna happen.
Imagine if that happened. I mean, like, something like, Discord stages would live stages would be really interesting, but like you said, right, you probably need a translator, right? So,
Yeah.
definitely logistically wise, it's just, maybe in the future. I mean, right now we do have groups doing Reddit AMAs and stuff like that, right? So that's pretty cool. But that's a very
Yeah.
filtered way of doing it, and in a very asynchronous way, right? Because the artist will, have the opportunity to respond to people because they leave questions, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to do it in real time, per se, right? So
Yeah.
I guess this real time kind of thing, aside from like V Lives or, I guess like fan calls or whatever, right? That's it'll be a ways away, I think. And then Danny had a great point because Discord servers are not the most PG places on the planet. So
No.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it would have to be almost like an
Mm.
invite only situation where not everybody was allowed in, because Discord's so open in terms of who's allowed to speak where in terms of within the server. So it would almost be like just giving them a Twitter account and then putting them in the middle of Twitter and kind of just like
Yeah,
watching it
that needs
crumble, because it would just get bombarded.
you'd need a lot of planning, I think, weeks before to decide who would actually get, I suppose, in.
Yeah.
Supposed to ask the questions, because we know there are some people who would well, well, there's just some controversial
let's just
people
leave
that we
that
probably
unsaid.
wouldn't
Yeah,
let touch them with a 10-foot pole. So
let's
Yeah.
just leave that unsaid. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean I think that's very, very interesting to just think about in general, and on on that topic too, you know, any I guess particular hardships or struggles that you may have in running such a gigantic Discord server, K-pop based Discord server, because I know even for us we're at 500 and so members, like it's getting pretty big. But I can't imagine something like 15K or something that big. Like how do you manage that? Are are kind of any safeguards in place? I'm sure there are, right? So
Yeah, it would be crazy to say that like we don't have any hardships at all in terms of management, but again, Discord's kind of bringing in new things that help us. So members have to be screened and verified now, which has helped a lot with
mm,
raids, I guess you could say, and kind of just in general people that just come in to troll and then leave again. We've made a few changes in terms of the bots and how they work. So a lot of, if you've been on Discord a lot, then like raiders just spam images and then leave, or just try and spam as much as they can. So we've made it harder for people to kind of have the full permissions of a Discord member. So you can't just come in and start posting images, and that has helped us a lot in terms of kind of cutting down and making the server run a bit easier and look a bit nicer as well. So it's kind of almost, you have to not earn your way into the community, but the longer you're here, the more permissions you get, and then you can kind of start interacting properly. So
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
can definitely tell when people have joined to try and raid and spam pictures because you'll get a big influx of people joining and then they'll immediately leave about 10 seconds later. And there's just a little small sense of satisfaction that they can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. In
Wow, I
terms of
mean,
kind of long term as well, like I can't speak for all servers, but as you've said already, and as we all know, orbits can be a bit kind of hyperactive in some scenarios and just a bit kind of wild. So trying to keep a lid on everything can be a bit rough, but the longer people are in the server, the more they understand the culture and kind of how we try and act a bit more. I don't want to use the wrong words here. Like,
I would say it's because when
go
you're
on.
on a platform like Twitter, there's a character limit, so it does just get a bit shouty and like single sentences. But when you're in somewhere like Discord with no character limit, it encourages more discussion. So I think people like calm down. Sorry, I let go of my push to talk button then. Yeah, I think that encourages things to be a bit more calm, especially as I think it's not just exclusive to our server really. It's like this with other K-pop servers. Discord seems to attract the older members of the K-pop community who just by nature are a bit more mature, and I think that can mellow out some of the people that have come from Twitter or they're also active on Twitter.
Yeah, civilized is a good word, like Jet said, but I didn't
Yeah,
want to.
definitely.
I didn't want to
civilized.
infer that
So you're
Twitter's
calling
uncivilized. But,
Twitter stands not civilized.
I mean, I'll let you say it, but I'm not going to disagree if you know what I
No
mean.
comment.
Not to say
Okay.
that they all are, but you know, like the general culture on Twitter is a bit more kind of wild and unmoderated. So if we try and stay away from that as much as we can.
Yeah, that's fair, and I guess you did touch upon that, a little bit in effect, right? But I guess obviously orbits can be a bit crazy, right? So
Yeah,
like,
they're very
how do
young.
you
Yeah.
manage that? I know like there are a lot of younger fans as well, right? Who can be like, oh, Stan Luna, that type of meme, right? Things like
Yeah,
that. So like, how do you control that in a sense?
it's just kind
Usually,
of keeping up with the rules and the moderations, really. So like making sure that it doesn't take long for people to realize when they're in the server that if they just come in and start screaming Stan Lunar and like spamming caps lock everywhere, that like not a lot of people are going to reciprocate that, and then they kind of realize that, oh, this isn't that kind of place, and then it kind of all settles down. But
yeah, especially around comeback season and first wins and general music show wins, we get a lot of people coming in spamming vote and links and all that, and then usually it just takes. It's not even just the mods that do it, to be honest. The community does it as well. They're just like, calm down, like stop, and that's gotten us a bit of crap on Twitter, but it is what it is. We want to. Everybody already knows to vote for Loona, especially in the community. It's always in pins. There's always encouragement. People change their nicknames. It's not quite the same with Twitter, where you kind of, I wouldn't say you have to spam it, but it's encouraged a bit more, I guess.
I mean, if you think about it, you just spam vote today, in a server that's dedicated to that group. I mean, you're just talking to yourself at that point, right? So like,
yeah,
you
definitely.
don't really need to do it. It's not entirely necessary,
Mhm.
right? So,
Like, yeah, like the information's there if you want to, and we'll provide the information, but it's not a case of forcing people to do it and like getting mad when if like people ask if you voted and you say no, we're not gonna like ban you or anything. Like
Yeah,
as I
like
said,
holding.
everybody enjoys K-pop in different ways, so we kind of like we'll give you the information, but it's completely up to you what you do with it. If you want to vote, if you don't want to vote, if you want to vote for someone
Yeah, and
else, like
like a bit before, like how there's quite a lot of older members in the server. People have jobs, like they probably don't have time to sit there collecting stars all day or whatever it is. I know I've never really had time to do that because I've gone straight from college to uni and then a full-time job. Like I've tried my best, but if someone starts shouting in my face, in caps, telling me to vote for Loona, I'm probably just gonna move the channel. I'll probably just swap channels because it's if I like
oh man, that's hilarious, and I think that goes or that demographic shift is pretty important. Just in general, where for example, the Discord servers are places where I guess older fans would congregate more, right? Versus something like Twitter, right?
yeah,
Where younger fans would congregate more. And I think that's really interesting, right? And that's a great segue to kind of my curiosity in terms of what makes Discord in particular, right, perfect place to build, say, a K-pop community than any other platform.
I think kind of the ability to make the server how you want it, especially. So I know for a fact that there's multiple Luna servers out there, and not all of them are going to be running the same way that we run ours. So,
Oh, right. I was going to ask you how many Luna servers there are out there. Yeah.
oh god,
A lot. Now I don't even know how many there are now.
yeah,
Several
I know there's
at this
3
point.
big ones you could say, and then yeah, just a lot of like smaller community ones that may be more kind of directed in how we're saying about kind of spamming people to vote and whatnot, but just in terms of our server and the fact that it has gained the popularity that it has with the way that we run it kind of proves that there are a lot of K-pop fans and orbits in general that just kind of want somewhere that's a bit more kind of relaxed to hang out, and like they can get the information, but they're not kind of being
Yeah.
forced upon anything or kind of being spammed to do stuff, and they can just enjoy it at their own leisure. So
Very, very
Yeah,
I don't know if
cool.
you have anything to add to that,
not
Matthew.
everyone's going to like the way we run the server, and I know a lot of people think it's quite strict. But when it's that big, you kind of have to be strict and lay it down a little harder than maybe other places would allow, like smaller places. But if people want to, they want to seek out other servers, different places to talk, that's better for them, and that they're welcome to do so. That's probably the best thing about Discord at the moment, is that there's so many different communities now compared to when I first joined Discord. I think there was very much just kind of one server for each K-pop group. Now I don't even remember if there was any other Loona servers when I joined. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Yeah, no, those are all great, great points for sure. And just in addition, right, just the amount of customizations you can do, right, with Discord is
Yeah.
big plus as well, right, with all the different channels and the boostings and well, the emotes too. I think make it a huge part of the experience as well, right? You can express your feelings or your emotions with a great Loona emote, which the chat can spam now if you'd like, expressing your feelings at the moment. But my favorite honestly is hyper go one. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one. It's funny with how kind of integrated that the emotes have become, where I'm in servers that are not related to anything K-pop at all, and almost kind of work servers where out of habit you almost end up posting the emotes that you post in K-pop servers, and it's like, wait a minute, this isn't the right place for
Yeah.
this. I have managers in here, I shouldn't be doing this. But yeah, it does make me laugh.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm also I use Discord for professional purposes sometimes, and I accidentally use a K-pop emote in there. Like, who is that? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that's a long story.
Must-
Yeah, but I guess like to that effect, right? Obviously there are, as you said, there are many different many different Luna servers out there now, right? And so as kind of leading community manager for your own server, right? What different strategies do you employ to grow your own server in the face of all these different other Luna servers, right? Competition is basically, I don't want to say the same thing, but it's for a similar purpose, right? So, any tips for growing a Discord server in general, and I guess specifically to your case for your Luna server?
I mean, for us personally, we don't do a lot of active promotion. I mean, we've been in contact with the guys over at r/Luna, and they have a link to our server in their side banner. So I know we do get a few people come in from there, and uh, we were lucky enough to be the first Luna server to get kind of up to the vanity link. So we've got Discord GG/Luna, which that's again not an active promotion, but if people are looking for a Luna server, that might be one of the first things that they try. So we can get lucky from that as well. But I think a lot of the reason that people will come to our server, not as opposed to others, but just in general, is just again the content management and the fact that we're a hub for any kind of current information regarding Luna at this point. So it's just making sure that there's a purpose for the server other than just the kind of chatting. So if you are looking to grow the server, you just need to kind of make sure that people have a reason to visit originally, and also maintain coming and checking out what you have to offer.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
KSI
that makes
is
a
a
lot
good
of
one
sense.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, the K-pop server index is another good one. So
Yeah.
obviously getting in contact with those guys and just making sure that your server's on the list, and people will go through there and look for servers for their favorite groups, or if a new group debuts, then they can go, oh, I wonder if there's a server for that yet, and most likely there is, so a lot of people will come in through there.
Right. I think it helps to be kind of the OG in a sense, right? Kind of the original,
Yeah.
first one there, first mover advantage, if you will, right? And so,
Hmm.
especially when you have that vanity, link, right? Discord.gg/Loona. I mean, that's the automatically that's the one, right? So,
Yeah.
people will think that that's the Luna server when in reality there's multiple, but
Yeah.
no one, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
definitely.
yeah, go ahead, yeah.
I know. I was just agreeing that like kind of it's not a lot of active promotion, but having the things like the Vanities link and the K-pop and stuff like that is just it then allows people to, I guess, assume that we are the Discord server, but then coming into our server, we're not kind of like pushing people away or ignoring other servers, but they can kind of go, okay, so there are smaller Luna servers that may be a bit more kind of suited to me, and then they can hang out there if they wanted to. So it's obviously not a competition as we're all orbiters, but it's just kind of navigating people to the server that's best suited for them.
Right. It's just a preference. It's like, not everyone shops at the same grocery store, right? That kind of thing,
Yeah, you
right?
got it.
So
Yeah,
people
Exactly. Yeah.
definitely.
yeah, people have their preferences and for stuff and things like that. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I guess, obviously as a community that's getting, bigger and bigger by the day, right? Do you think, K-pop fans or content creators, right, in the K-pop genre, right, from outside Discord, right, will be joining in larger numbers in the future, or will they kind of stick to their places like Twitter or Reddit or YouTube or places like that? Do you think there'll be a more massive influx of K-pop fans to Discord, and if so, how would that happen?
You want to go for this one, Cassie? I feel like I've been answering first a
Um,
lot.
no, it's fine. I think so. Because to be honest, thinking that a K-pop server's already got like ours around 15,000, 16,000 members is already like way more. And I think recently, with all the new updates Discord have been doing, they've definitely been gearing it more towards marketing like the app as not as gamer focused as people think it is.
Mm.
So, and as well, I think there are a lot of people who acknowledge now that Twitter might not be the best place to get information or like to hang out with fandoms. It depends if you like that sort of environment. Um, it's all right. But some people want to actually talk about the group and like discuss with the group, and I don't think Twitter really allows for that with the character limit and just the general how the app is. I don't personally like Twitter that much. I don't like how the algorithm works. That's just my preference. I much prefer coming into Discord. You see all the different channels, and if you want to talk about something, you know exactly where to go. In most K-pop servers, like ours is like that
Mm.
as well. Like if I want to talk about Loona, I'll go into Loona chat. If I want to talk about another group, I'll go into K-pop chat. If I want to just see the general topic of the day, I'll go into Orbit chat, which is nice. I don't think Twitter lets you have that sort of thing, and I think as well, like I've been mentioning, most of the time as fans get older and they get a bit more mature, they might want to move away from the Twitter platform. And as Discord is allowing, for there to be a lot more focus on just general communities and chatting and not just gaming, I think definitely in the future it would become a big place for you to talk about your group and like enjoy your favorite groups. I mean, it already is, to be honest, but it might become on a similar level one day.
Yeah,
Mm.
no, definitely well said. There, kind of, great description, and of course, as yeah, as we all experience, getting older and things like that, people would like more of a curated experience, if you will, right? Twitter is a little
Mm.
bit of the Wild West in some
Yeah.
ways, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it's just a natural course of action that happens. But
Mhm.
I guess to that vein, right? What do you think about the K-pop community on Discord, 5 years from now, for example, right? And we'll get, really big that continues to grow, or what did you think generally will happen, right? With it, with that growth, for example.
I think it'll keep growing. Like, especially with COVID, I think a lot more people have moved to Discord and similar apps to voice chat or like game with people. And then it becomes where people join a K-pop server and, it becomes that group isn't their only interest. It just becomes like a shared interest in how people met. Like, I know my closest friends from that server, these days we don't really talk about just Loona anymore, but it was obviously how we met, if that makes sense. Like me and you, Connor, we don't really talk about Loona that often. But obviously we started off doing that. So it's just in like DMs and stuff. It's just how it is. And I think it is nice that you can meet friends in that way, and you've got voice chat and stuff, and especially in 5 years. And as I said, COVID was a big part in that, definitely, because I think people were doing some online classes in Discord and like voice chat, and just it was a way for a lot of people to connect with their friends, still their real life friends that they couldn't necessarily see, and they might have discovered other communities from that. So yeah, especially given the rate that our server's growing and other K-pop servers are growing, I can definitely see in 5 years that it would be a very big, well-known platform to go and talk about your K-pop group or play certain bot games, whichever one you'd like to do.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that, and especially with the direction that Discord as a company are growing, and the fact that they're now kind of branching out from being just a gaming platform, because they're aware that there's a need there for kind of communities to have a place to hang out that's run by people from those communities. So seeing the changes that they've already implemented with like discovery and the partnerships with the servers and whatnot, it's very promising for the future in terms of kind of how they're going to allow us to run servers too. So obviously 16,000 people on a server is very overwhelming, and of course not everybody's there to talk every day, otherwise we need a lot more than 10 moderators.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of with those numbers, Discord are kind of seeing that there's a lot of people in terms of people wanting to kind of have their own places, and I guess I could say it's a fact that community servers, and not even just on Discord, but places where people hang out that are run by people from that community, as opposed to servers that are a bit more kind of wild, or like Twitter. It's just better for those communities and better for fans to kind of have a place where they enjoy hanging out. So yeah, I definitely see the growth coming within the next 5 years, and if Discord keep bringing in new features and new ways of kind of growing your communities, it will just get even easier for us in terms of management as well. So yeah, it should all be looking good in the future, I reckon.
Yeah, no, definitely very bullish on that. On that growth of just communities and in general, right? As a place to, and we see it even in a lot of non-K-pop kind of contexts as well, right? People kind of grow their increasingly go away from, say, something like Facebook groups, or God forbid, Slack channels, things like that, right? And use Discord, right? I mean, who wants to hang out on Slack after work? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I can't see Microsoft Teams taking off for community servers. So
yeah,
Discord's definitely got that kind of that lockdown now. So
Yeah.
yeah. No, definitely fair enough. So we have a few more minutes we can spend with our distinguished guests. So in the chat, in the audience, any last minute burning questions that you have for Connor and Cassius, anything about Loona, running Loona server, anything like that, and I'll take just one or two before we close. So let's see. But yeah, and people are typing, obviously. I think we had some questions from earlier too that we missed from earlier, but
yeah, there was one.
there
Jerry
was
asked
one.
earlier, speaking of raids, do you get a lot of trolls because of the Stan Luna meme? So
Yeah,
in
oh yeah,
terms
that
of
one.
that,
Yeah,
I'd say it comes in waves, and there's been catalysts for it in the past. So there was one incident. We have a community role, which we have explained that is for people within the server that want to play kind of games or watch movies together, or we've
Yeah.
recently kind of branched out a part of that, which is Korean language lessons. So that was the idea of that, and then somebody from Stan Twitter came in and added the community role when it was public, and just said vote for Loona on AAA, I think it was at the time, and it kind of just caused chaos. And they obviously got in trouble for that, and then they kind of bought Stan Twitter into the server just to kind of raid it. So it was like, why are we doing this? Like, it's
To
just
be honest, once every few
obviously,
months, don't we, with Stan Twitter?
yeah.
The
So there's obviously like,
rivalry.
it's not. I don't know. I wouldn't even say it's a rivalry. It's just a difference in kind of the communities. Like Twitter's
Yeah.
very aggressive's not the right word, but do you know what I mean? Where they're kind of just like pushing voting and stuff because that's how
Yeah,
they kind of
yeah.
get their numbers. Whereas like we will allow people to vote and we'll give them the info, but it's very kind of at your own will. So there's been disagreements with the two places in the past, and we kind of had raids in terms of like Stan Loona raids from that, but it never lasts long, and it's definitely something that we can manage. So
Yeah, like I think most of our raids don't really even involve that only happens during comeback season,
Mm.
which, as we all know, isn't the most often.
Oh
And
dear, yeah.
gosh, I think a lot of it is just generic offensive trolls, like just saying slur words and whatever, and just spamming it. Like the other day we had one that was just like, oh, there's another one, and you just, you ban, you remove the past
Yeah.
messages. But yeah, the Luna stuff I think only comes during comeback season. And as I say, we
Mm.
haven't had to deal with comeback season as often as we probably should. So yeah.
Well, I mean, you get ready for this one coming up soon.
Yeah.
So
And another thing on that topic as well, which is a bit more behind the scenes for people that aren't in moderation, but the leaders of the K-pop discords, we have a way of communicating with each other now using the publish feature, where if someone's going from server to server raiding and kind of just like, it's very obvious that that's their intent, is just to troll and use slurs or post something offensive, we can now let everybody know. So behind the scenes, we're kind of clamping down on a lot of raiders before they even get into servers this time. So
Yeah, there's a nice network, isn't there, for the mods across all the
yeah,
K-pop servers, which is good.
yeah, I can't say that was my idea or anything, because I was invited to that from previous moderators, but it's been so helpful in terms of kind of clamping down on stuff and allow like stopping the raiders in their tracks, if you know what I mean. So
nice.
but yeah,
Very,
it's more
very
of like an
cool.
information hub than anything else.
Right. So everyone's on the same page, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
perfect. All right, we got a question from Jet. So if there's one thing you want to change, remove, or improve in Lunacord, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, one thing.
That is a very good question, actually. What would I change?
I'm trying to narrow it down to one.
Oh, okay. It doesn't have to be just one. If you want to know all the secrets here.
Yeah, that is a tough one, because like in terms of changing or anything really, like we have the opportunity to do that, and we'll use the suggestions channels to kind of get a
Yeah.
gauge on what the community's after. But I don't know really. You throw me off it with this one. I can't
I
think of
know,
like.
I don't know. Like, I mean,
I
anything
mean,
that
I
I'm
mean, you just
thinking
say
of
the
is
server is just
it's
perfect.
obviously, yeah, it's fully 100% there. Like we achieved everything we wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing
Completely.
I'd say is it'd be nice if, but I mean, it's never gonna happen. But if some people would just, if there was less arguments, I guess. But that's what happens in
Yeah.
Discord, I suppose, of people with different opinions. If we had slightly less controversial, but then I don't know. To be honest, I'm just like, that's kind of nice because it does mean obviously
Yeah.
people have different opinions. If people could just be nicer, some people,
Mhm.
that'd be quite nice. But other than that, you're
That's
just opening a
that's a
can of
dream
worms.
scenario, though,
I
isn't
know I'm not
it?
going to get involved in that
Everyone, be
question.
nice.
Yeah, that's just part of the responsibility of moderating, I guess, is just kind of obviously like long-term people in a server. Not everybody's going to get on, so there's disagreements, and you kind of
Yeah,
it's not like ban-worthy stuff, and no one's really breaking rules, but you just kind of have to be that mediator for stuff that you really shouldn't have to, just because it's like a server for fun, if you know what I mean. So,
yeah.
oh yeah, should we have a
Very,
guess
very
on
cool.
who the next teaser is going to be that drops in a minute?
Oh shit,
Because
yeah.
they're doing
Oh
Oh,
them
wait,
every
yeah,
that's
2
on.
hours.
true. Yeah, we should do this in real time. Actually, who's going to be next?
Who is
Uh,
going to be next?
All right,
Right,
cast
if
your
Olivia, I
votes.
hope.
Who's going to be next?
Give me Olivia. I'm still waiting.
And then when the 1 minute passes, whoever posts the link first gets a prize.
I
I don't know what
think
prize, but you'll get a prize.
I have no basis behind this, but I think it'll be Jinsoul.
Jinsol. Okay, we see Yves, we see Chori. Let's see who else.
There's a lot of theory stuff that goes on in the Loona server, so people are trying to predict it based on patterns and whatnot, but
I don't think
that's way
anyone's
too
ever
big
got
brain
it
for me.
right.
So no.
It
Unlike
is
previous ones.
11 in the morning now. I mean, I guess in my time. So who is it? Who
Yeah.
is it?
Oh,
Someone
it's Cherry.
posted. Oh, done. All right, it's Chori. All right.
Cherry.
There you go.
All right, there we go.
Oh,
There we go.
cherry
Ooh,
and
look.
yellow.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh, and nice. Okay.
Mm.
Oh,
I
very
thought
I
cool.
love the fact that they're doing these 3 concepts across all of them, and the third
No,
concept
yeah.
looks incredible. So
These
I'm really
teasers are
excited to
probably
see
the
kind of
best
how they go.
teasers.
I
Best
really like
teasers
these
they've
teasers.
done.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, these are great. But yep, there you go. Yeah, I mean, we just
Good timing,
participated
right?
in something real time. Great way to close, honestly.
Yeah,
So perfect. So wanted to really take the time to thank you again for spending your Saturdays with us. Yeah, I guess wanted to give you this opportunity. If you want to, plug anything that you would like, obviously, Luna Cord server, right, is there. And I guess, what kinds of activities do you have going on there? What's coming up? And I guess, any social media, anything, just, feel free to plug anything.
Yeah. Personally, I don't have a lot to plug at the moment. So obviously, if you're not in the Discord server already, Discord.gg/Luna, come in and say hello and see what's going on. Obviously, we're preparing for the comeback at the moment. So in terms of anything community-wise that we can offer to the group, then we can, or offer to the server, sorry, we can kind of any vlogs or anything like that. We'll be running community stuff there. So come join in and see what's going on, really.
Yeah, and especially in the Luna chat at the moment, and when the teasers drop, there's a lot of new faces and new people coming to discuss and just like hyper out over the teasers, which is really nice. So if you want to do
Yeah.
that, come and do that. We do put a slow mode on sometimes if it gets really bad. With Hassel, there was
Yeah.
a slow mode on, but it's still fun. I promise.
Very, very cool. All right. This is for everyone here who's currently listening. If you're not already in Lunacord, please join. If you're already there, please participate. And yeah, I mean, we can't. Oh, there you go. Discord.gg/Luna. Thank you, Kira. 16K now. Wow, that is insane. And 4,400 nearly online currently.
Mhm.
That is amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
That wow. I just so many people. I don't know what to say, but it's great, right? So,
Yeah.
just wanted to, quickly kind of close up. Just, obviously, just want to reaffirm that we're all, K-pop based servers are all friendly in one way or another, right? So so please don't, promote anything negative. And we try to keep our servers to be a friendly and nice place for K-pop fans, and everyone is welcome to join. So that is all for episode 4. Thank you to Connor. Thank you to Cassius. Thank you to you, the listener, who's listening right now, and thank you to whoever's going to listen to this in the future. Best of luck in the future, and of course, for our members, if we can be a little bit more active in Lunacord, that would be perfect, right? And so obviously we're all orbits in here, so. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of Pream Radio. So stay tuned for the next episode. Enjoy KCity.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
Cheers.
having us.